Are we rolling?
Yeah, that's how these start too. Yeah, I know.
I didn't realize I was on camera, so don't bloody use
You didn't say anything bad.
You gave your guess. Come on.
Yeah, no, normally we start our podcasts just sort of completely untraditionally. There's no music, there's no nothing. It's just us talking, like if we're sort of finishing a conversation that we had before.
You'd be lucky if we even get around to introducing you in the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had that problem for a while. We would start talking, we'd forget to introduce the guest until like halfway through
And
the
then
episode.
everyone, audio listeners would be very confused.
Like, who is this person? Today's person is Tom Scott.
Yes, that is
Famous.
That is correct.
I was gonna say infamous, but you're not infamous. You're just
That feels more like you two. Like
infamous.
one of us here does not have a reputation for randomly blowing stuff up, and I feel like you two do.
You've done all sorts of explosions. I think you might actually have done more explosions than us.
Yeah.
I have done Hollywood explosions. I forgot that actually. I don't actually remember most of what I've done. So
that's actually interesting because I feel like the more I do, the less I remember.
Right.
And I don't really know why. It's I don't want to say it's sad, but people will say stuff and I'm like, oh my God, like I totally forgot about that. Like it just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you do have some more responsibilities these days. Let's be honest. Like how is fatherhood treating you?
Good. It's very interesting in a good way. Like it sort of makes your life worse, but you're okay with it. Does that make any sense? You know, like it's work, but it's very weird. You've been, there's like some programming in there that's doing its job.
As someone who's never talked about my personal life on the internet, good luck with this. I was going to ask you how you were doing. But,
do you have any pets?
This is the trouble we always have with this.
Yeah.
Which is that you get a guest on and you go in completely unresearched.
Yeah.
And then you got to find something to talk about. In my case, it is not questions like that. So good luck.
So
do we need to flag up the t-shirt issue, by the way? Like,
No, we don't have to. It was an accident.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to wear it.
I rolled up today and I see you wearing almost exactly the same shade I am. And the first words out my mouth are, oh, is everyone wearing red t-shirts in my honor? Because you have, unfortunately, done the same joke as a completely different group of people did about 2 days ago.
Does that make it funnier or less?
I don't know.
The more
I don't know.
I mean, it means you got something. You got something going for you if everyone sort of recognizes.
I mean, that's why I did it. It's for
Yeah.
continuity and branding. But it was Lateral, which... See, this is why I don't remember stuff. You've been on Lateral, right?
Yes.
You've made an appearance. All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, okay.
This was... You sound like you
That's
left
how
out
it
there.
Kevin's like,
You know, I was
okay.
on Tom Scott Plus.
Wasn't aware there was a battle here. Also, like the guests... also, the guest management on that is entirely done by my producer. So,
Yeah.
Whoever they're a fan of.
honestly, balancing guests on a show where you have 3 guests per episode, which, like, logistically, not a great decision for a podcast. Like, well done on having something that is now in a nice set with one guest an episode or 0, where you don't do the research. Like,
No.
I can see why everyone does that as a podcast thing.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for you to have some, microphone stands for your guests and things like that.
No, the problem with the microphone stands is, what's the problem with the microphone? Why don't we do that?
We don't want the guests to get too comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you exactly.
We
If the
gotta,
conversation's better.
Keep them
Yeah.
off
When-
balance.
Right. When everyone is like, they have to hold something, it's awkward. Like, you're dual wielding right now.
I mean, that's true. Well, it's not with 2 microphones. I've got a glass of water in the other
We
hand.
have
like-
another one. We could do microphone.
I mean, with the
You're gonna-
lawn chairs and this, I kind of feel like we're in the worst beach party there's ever been.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It was worse. At one point, it was worse. You see the yellow chair back there?
I see the yellow
So
chair.
Oh, yeah.
And the brown, we made our own chairs, and we're not carpenters,
Mhm.
and so they were all very uncomfortable. And the way we tend to do things is like we sort of do it and then you just forget about it. And so for months, we were using these very uncomfortable chairs that would kind of like bite into.
Yeah.
your
There was
heads.
nails poking out of them. Yeah.
And I think at one point though, we just got sick of it. We're like, you know what?
Hot ones, just with increasingly uncomfortable chairs.
Uncomfortable chair ones. It's got like hydraulic rams that like slowly make it more and more narrow.
The 10th one is just a cone. It's just a cone.
And you can't.
You're gonna do that now. You're gonna do that.
That's actually really. Wait a second.
Pointy ones.
Hot ones, but the chairs get more uncomfortable instead of hot sauce.
I mean, there's so many people doing hot ones, but at this
Mhm.
point, we are immediately going to Inside Baseball, like talking about podcast and creation stuff here, aren't we?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
fine.
No, this is not a good podcast. It is a podcast.
So this is the problem with like Lateral. 3
Yeah.
guests, load of research. We have questions, like we have lateral thinking questions
Yeah.
to put to the guests. We have to do fact checking on that. We get
Mhm.
complaints if
Oh,
it turns
yeah.
out I've accidentally repeated an urban legend or something like that. Like,
Oh yeah,
we
we're
have-
really bad about that.
we have citations and source notes in the things we send to the
Yeah.
guests for the questions. So far, I don't think we've made a massive blunder, but
It's gonna happen no matter
it's
what.
going to
you
happen.
do.
Yeah.
You have to have
It's
corrections.
Too much
like that.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
And-
we do is we just make a lot of blunders and then
But we kind of like
they don't really
say
expect
that
it.
while we do. We're like, okay, we're not experts. Like, I don't know, maybe. But
yeah,
we always have,
yeah.
like, an
Do your own
insurance
research.
policy.
You know.
I mean, that's always what I've done. Like, I put out corrections and things like that. And I feel like when you're doing your own experiments, like you two are, you
Yeah.
get to be your own fact checker.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I do it on YouTube because people are nasty on YouTube.
Mhm.
They're nice on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they get to see the process of how we came to the wrong answer
Uh-huh.
instead of it just being the wrong answer.
So, what's the wrong answer you've.
We were talking about like the ball lightning stuff, or no, we were talking about like RF.
Oh yeah, like
and-
electricity and
electricity.
grounding and
yeah.
and,
Like where does
and like what directions electrons flow?
Right.
Actually.
Oh, okay. Did you wade into the debate between Veritasium and was it Electro?
Oh yeah, with the like the speed of electricity.
There
Right.
was one. No, it was.
No,
there's
I'm not
one
going to touch that
guy
one.
That's actually really close to us, named Alpha Phoenix.
I saw his video on that.
Yes.
Yes,
He
that
lives
was a,
Oh, yeah.
really close.
that
to
was
here.
a
Yeah.
beautiful visualization.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does some
so
cool stuff.
he set up an experiment about the speed of electricity and then
Yeah.
put a oscilloscope probe every, I think it was like 4 meters into the wire or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can actually see the flow move through.
like that's crazy.
I don't have
Yeah.
enough electrical engineering knowledge to really
Uh-huh.
understand that. I just looked down and went, oh, that's some pretty visuals.
Yeah,
Looks like water.
It's like it's definitely a lot more. Yeah,
That guy's definitely it's like a sleeper channel, like underrated. Like,
Oh,
it's like
yes.
practical.
he's like
That
he's like
demonstration.
Ben Krasno.
Mm-hmm.
But his video, sorry, Ben. His videos I think are better. Like Ben's are very kind of like a document that he's written out that kind of is like reading a paper. And I feel like Alpha Phoenix sort of does more of like a proper YouTube video.
Mhm.
But they're both very interesting. But
He's like
those are
between me and Ben because he always wears the Hawaiian t-shirts too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is the thing. Everyone's got a style. Like
Uh-huh.
we've all got red t-shirts. Oh, I never finished the story. Yeah, three guests on Lateral because we have 3 guests had all coordinated and done exactly the same joke you have. I'm like,
I
at
think it
this
makes it
point,
better.
at this point. So, who's your underrated YouTube channel, Kevin? Who would you say people aren't getting to see right now because the algorithm is not promote? Well, it's not the algorithm, is it? It's like the medium does not fit their message or something like that.
I think the algorithm doesn't promote stuff that maybe is actually interesting if it can't be packaged in a
Right.
title and
Yes.
thumbnail that's interesting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
who's making stuff that can't be packaged that you like right now?
I don't know. I can't name one specifically.
Are you?
What?
It's not a good podcast. It's a podcast. Actually, let me close the door.
All right. So that's
I
for
don't
those
know.
who can't hear the baby crying in the background.
Yeah. What, you know Tyler Bell?
No.
He does some cool stuff. He's like a maker channel, kind of like us.
I thought. Sorry to interrupt. I thought you were going to like comfort and like visit your partner. And, no, it's just closing the doors. Just closing the doors. Okay.
She's got it.
Sure.
I'll do it any other time. I was doing it in the middle of the night last night because she was coughing a bunch, and so then you like get up. And...
Sorry.
Oh yeah. He does like you know Tyler Bell?
Yes.
Yeah, he does cool
Yeah.
stuff. He's been doing like he does like a lot of VFX kind of builds.
Like special effects.
Yeah, so like he made this thing like where you jump on it. It's like the springboard in the movie. So it looks like when you get thrown by an explosion, you jump on it
I
and,
have
and it
seen
like
that.
springs you
Yes.
forward like 10
Yeah.
feet in the air or something. So he's been doing stuff like that.
That looked way more dangerous
yeah.
than it actually.
Oh, I think
It's
it
a
actually is
baseball
kind of
battle ball
dangerous.
with no wheels
Right.
on it. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Scary. I don't think you could convince me to get on something like that and fire it.
He also made an ejector seat for his car.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like actually, I think like the roof blows off. It has like a gas canister that like shoots on pistons and
Did he
pushes
sit
it.
on it?
No, he
No.
put like dummies in it.
No, that's so. I once had to have an ejector seat briefing because I was going a military fast jet, and like they do not pull punches with that briefing. You know, if you leave the plane, you will probably be unconscious.
Your spine will be shorter than
You
it
may
used
be
to
slightly shorter. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are conscious, you know, try to control the parachute. But if not, you'll land anyway.
Somewhere.
Yeah. So if you see your pilot leave the plane, you should follow. Thank you. Okay. Like
Okay.
if your pilot is unconscious, eject. You cannot fly this plane, and by the time you realize you cannot fly this plane, it will be too late to eject. Okay, good. Yep.
A real captain goes down with his plane.
Like, I did this.
A real pilot sinks with
I
his
must
ship.
own my mistake. That's terrifying.
Oh yeah.
I've always heard that they can eject, like you can eject in the last second with those, even like at ground level, and it shoots you up like 300 feet. The
Yeah.
parachute auto deploys with a rocket, and
Depends on the seat,
the model,
on
I
the plane,
guess,
but
yeah.
I think so.
And how heavy you are.
Oh well, it's also height. There was a limit to how long your legs could be, because if they're too long, not all of you will leave the plane. Like you will leave the
Like-
plane above the knees, and you will leave the plane below the knees, but the knees themselves will get sheared off during the ejection.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I had to have like full measurements, everything like that, to check that I
Do you
physically-
remember what the height was? Like, it might, because I'm like 6 foot.
It was more about
one-ish.
leg length than
Leg
anything
length.
else.
So
Oh, okay.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I fit in an economy seat, no worries.
So if you're
Um,
like legs for days but short, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also there's a minimum weight,
Really?
because if you are too light,
you go up too fast.
it'll just break your neck. And just
Oh my
immediately.
God.
It's
That's terrifying.
so like, yeah, build
Wow.
one, but don't sit in that unless you've got a lot of G-force testing on it.
Yeah, because I've always wondered. I've always wanted to do a video of like what happens, like you know, the battle bots, you
Yeah.
know, versus a person. Like, what would happen?
Oh, how
And-
many ballistic gel dummies can you afford?
a lot.
Okay.
Well, you can remelt them, but I also, I'll show it to you. I have a 3D print of my skull, like a resin print of my skull.
wow.
So
Okay.
I wanted to do like, you know, some with my actual head.
Yep.
And it's from the CT scan, so I was able to pull out my skin as well. And so
Okay.
I can print a skull, and then I have a mold that I can then put it in and cast gel into it.
So that's like this. Is that going to be like the skin?
Yeah, so that'll be like
Okay.
the actual form of my actual face, my actual.
And you
skull.
don't have to get your face actually molded to
Exactly,
do that. Yeah.
but you would see exactly or similar to what it would look like if I actually stuck my real face.
Yeah.
in there.
Kind of like the Tom Scott robot. Do you remember
Yeah.
that one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of work from 3D scanning, like manual
Yeah.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
I do have a free video idea for you then.
Okay.
What happens if a Tesla Cybertruck hits a person? Because that's a sharp front.
Oh
And I
yeah.
am not convinced.
You know
it'll
what?
pass.
We can make it sharper.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's exactly where my head went. It's like, how sharp does the Cybertruck need to be to cut somebody in half?
There you go. Actually, that's a solid idea. I miss having conversations like this because I travel so much. I don't get to hang out and have conversations like this. Just where someone goes, yes, and yes, and yes. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Hey, no one says no here. They just make it work.
We could also turn it into a giant cheese grater up top too.
Well, now you don't need a Cybertruck. You just need the measurements of the front of a Cybertruck. And you need
Put it
some
on
you need some stainless steel and like
the front of my Ford Taurus, just like weld like
a big wedge.
yes. There's no reason we couldn't do that
no,
today.
you could totally do it. Well, yeah, we could go. Actually, the
metal shop's
yard.
open.
Yeah, the metal yard. Is
I have a
open.
ballistic gel dummy.
Okay, well, I know we've got other plans today, but if you want to do that
I'm super
today,
down to do
I'm
that.
I'm up for that.
How long are you in LA for?
I got a couple weeks. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We should do
My
that.
my instinct. Oh, my voice cracked. That's fun.
I have to
Um,
remelt it.
Hi, Tom.
My instinct was to just immediately drop the microphones and go out and get some sheet metal. But that's the way I miss working.
Yeah.
I miss coming up with an idea and going, oh, I can just do that now.
Yeah. I mean, that's I think we've managed to find like the perfect kind of I say job because what most people do in retirement is probably similar to what we do. There's like, there's like the work side of it still.
Yeah.
But also just being able to have like a dumb idea and then the like financial justification to do it. Cause you're like, it's a business
Right.
expense. You turn it into a video. Like,
Yep.
nobody else would go and buy, $500 worth of, recycled or what would you call it? Scrap metal from the yard. What do you call it?
Yeah. Oh,
leftovers to
the
cut
remnants,
up,
the drops.
remnants
Yeah.
to melt into a triangle. And it's like, yeah, business expense. Let's go. Intrusive
Yeah.
thought machine,
Oh yeah. Every quarter I get an email from my accountant with a list of transactions. Like, is that really a business? Yes, it is.
Business
Yes, it is.
expense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't envy any day I'm gonna have to explain to the IRS or somebody like that. No, like this actually.
They're not gonna
is.
want it. They're not gonna enjoy that either.
They're like, I think they're gonna be so
like they're gonna get like
confused.
10 minutes into it, and then they're gonna be like, I see what's going on here.
There's something seriously wrong with this man. Oh, I had one idea for today's podcast.
Okay.
It was to come up with like, what's the most evil thing you can think of?
No, because I've seen the Saturday Night Live sketch on
Yeah.
that, and that goes to some dark places very
Yeah, well, I thought
quickly.
that'd be funny. Yeah, the original like idea for the podcast, Michael and I were gonna we were like the henchmen of a supervillain, and the supervillain was like, anonymously, you don't know who he is, giving us ideas,
Mhm.
and then we had to like work through them.
That format didn't survive the first couple episodes.
we
then.
went a little too hard with the first one. But I still think it's a funny idea to like give people who know how to make things a sort of horrific challenge. That one was a drone that only kills babies. Because right,
Yeah.
there is.
No, I see where
You
you're
see-
going with
yeah,
that.
There's a
but-
way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not a good problem, and it's a horrible question, but it's something really funny about
Mhm.
asking people to solve that.
Is it a weight thing? Is it a height thing? Is it?
See, we should have gotten some questions from people because then we can sort of separate ourselves. I feel like, what about ChatGPT?
I
You
got
have it on your phone?
some. I got some
Oh.
questions, but they're not good.
Of like evil stuff.
Oh no, just like in general questions.
We should ask ChatGPT for like an evil. What's something an evil
Okay.
supervillain would ask his
I'm on
henchman to do? We could do our thought
your,
experiment.
your producer is logging into ChatGPT
Yeah.
right now.
Okay,
Over there.
Maybe like you are a supervillain, and you need an evil idea to send to your henchmen. Your henchmen don't have enough work, and so you need to send them an evil idea.
If the
No.
Enterprise wore pants, would they be like that or like that?
What is it? Is it
If
if the Enterprise wore pants, would it?
Would it wear them over the? Would it wear them over the nacelles and the back half of the engineering section, or the bottom half of the
just the
engineering
bottom
section?
half.
I think the bottom half. Yeah, there's a picture of the Enterprise, and the pants are on the backside or
just
the
said
bottom.
that. I
Well, you
think-
said nacelles. Nobody knows what that means. Yeah, how do you know what that means?
They can
Is that
zoom
what
into
call
that.
them?
Why do you think I'm wearing the red shirt?
Oh shit!
Whoa.
The red ones are the guys that die, right?
Yeah, depends on which series.
Okay. I think the bottom.
Okay. Well, you have your answer, Whiskey. The bottom. Unanimous.
The ChatGPT.
No, I actually disagree. I would go with the back half.
Really?
really?
Yeah.
Like how a dog would wear pants.
The nacelles work like legs.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you seen that same question, but it's with dogs?
No, but I'm not going to answer that one because that feels like a thing people have a lot of opinions on. I will get shouted at no matter what happens.
What are pants for?
That is the most childlike question.
What do they do? Because you have underwear, right? They're not to. I was gonna say like pants are meant to kind of hold any like fluids in, but that's not what pants are.
I think they're to
To keep fluids out
yeah,
the underwear, though.
protect your legs.
Oh, you
Yeah.
keep. But okay.
against
Then what's
branches,
the- so then-
thorns, the cold,
Mosquitoes.
Okay, so what part of the Enterprise is most susceptible to?
Oh man.
the nacelles.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that answer.
I didn't know where you were going with
No,
the what
I'm
are
just-
pants for. I thought
yeah.
that was just like a question that had come out of the blue.
Same.
Like
Same.
I thought you just kind of got a bit high beforehand. So
No.
what are pants for?
that would be a good podcast. I feel like with the dogs, that's maybe the same answer as it would be on all the legs.
on all
right?
four. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
That's
it's
very
not-
logical.
Yeah. It's not what looks right. What are underwear for? No, I know that one. I don't-
I'm going to drag this back to underrated YouTube channels.
Okay.
Just because, like, you two mentioned channels. Have you two heard of Bobby Fingers?
I don't think so.
All right.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because many people will have had a conversation with you at some point or mentioned it online, just like, watch this. I promise it's not what it looks like. And it is that epitome of a channel where you cannot package what's about to happen into a title and thumbnail. And I think it's not doing as well as it should because of
Yeah.
that. I'm always wary, like, I'm always wary promoting something that is fairly new to the internet in
Yeah.
case they turn out to be a complete jackass.
That's
Oh,
your
yeah.
insurance. You just wrote your insurance out in,
Yeah.
in the recommendation.
Yep.
You're like, I like the videos. I don't know about the person.
Yeah.
And now,
But a friend of mine described him as the best visual artist working in Ireland right now.
is it
Okay.
the puppets?
No, it's the Michael Jackson hair on fire diorama and the Jeff Bezos rowing boat.
Okay, I have not seen that.
Okay, it is a rowing boat in the shape of Jeff Bezos's head.
Okay.
It is colossal. And you go in, and I don't want to give you any spoilers on
Yeah.
this. All I'll say is, like, it looks like half an hour, and it starts like it's going to be this slow, like, not boring, but like calm
Yeah,
and
artistic.
measured, artistic
Uh-huh.
build
Yeah.
video. Stick with it for a few minutes. I put that in my newsletter, and I had to put a content warning for strong language and surgical images on that video.
So it just goes insane.
It insane feels like the wrong word because it's so plotted. It feels
Yeah,
chaotic, and then at the end, it resolves into what I can only describe as something cinematic. And I cannot
Okay,
give you any more
okay,
spoilers than that.
okay.
It is half an hour of your time,
Wow.
very well worth it. But like
Yeah.
you said, it's not a thing you can package. You
Right.
can't put that in a
Uh-huh.
thumbnail
No.
without giving away the kind of jaw-dropping moments at the end of it.
That is my biggest beef with YouTube is that
Mhm.
everything has to be surface level. Like you have to be able to
Oh, yeah.
explain it. Like one of the ways that I will kind of like communicate, like I one of my own experiments in my head of like, will this do well? Is how would you explain it to a friend in a sentence?
Yes.
And
Like, just the thing is, like, a guy makes a boat in the shape of Jeff Bezos' head.
right, like
Like-
it's a good idea, but I don't know if it sort of seems like older YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
And it seems like the bulk of the video probably isn't like what you would actually find interesting about it isn't the fact that
No, it's
Exactly.
the other. It's
But
the other.
how
It's
you
everything,
explained it
everything
was that
else.
it seems sort of like lame on the surface, but then it gets crazy. Like that was your explanation.
Yeah.
Was it seems slow, but it actually goes off in an
Yeah.
so it's
But you
almost like
can't put that in the title.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Either
you
way.
can't
Yes.
convey that.
this video
so-
starts slow, but then goes crazy.
But I always think, like, yes, that's part of the medium, but I
Yeah.
think it was always the case. Like, this is industry urban legend. Don't know if it's true. Television in about the year 2003, 2004, and onwards, as TiVo and like PVRs and guides,
BBR, let's go.
like TV guides that were on your screen
Oh,
rather
yeah.
than in a book came
Oh,
along.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
The
You know,
titles,
I
of-
never, I never experienced the book, guys.
well, magazine.
Okay.
Like newspaper, whatever. The names of shows changed.
Oh,
They're all
okay.
like 2 or 3 words now, and they have to fit in the tiny space available
Oh,
on your PVR screen
Yeah.
as you scroll through.
okay.
So
Yeah.
you didn't have shows with sitcoms like I'm trying to think of, I cannot think of an example off the top of my head, but you ended up with Storage Wars and
Mhm.
Ancient Aliens.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was all optimized for not even a title and thumbnail, but for 2 or 3 words.
Not like this pyramid looks like a normal pyramid, but actually it goes off the rails once you go inside of the pyramid.
Right. So,
Yeah.
like, YouTube, you have a few more words than that. You have a thumbnail. And I think
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
you've always had that with like books and covers and everything. You've
Bottles of wine.
how do
cans
you
of
how do you
beer.
sell this?
Yeah. This wine tastes good. Look at the picture.
Right? And maybe that's the same thing. Maybe we just have to go on to recommendations in person and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But now we've lost like most people just posting stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Where do you get those recommendations
Yeah.
from? I don't know.
I think that it's a little bit just of an unsolvable problem.
Yeah.
Like I think it's
Yeah.
like the only way to bypass the title thumbnail problem on YouTube is to get a bunch of views.
You have to
If
like
you
build
have-
up your brand too. So
Well,
people like see you and they know, like
yeah.
they know what they're gonna
That's
start-
why I clicked on the Jeff
Right.
Bezos boat, because
Yeah.
I'd seen the
Okay.
Michael Jackson hair on fire diorama. I was like,
Yeah.
I would like something more like that because someone
Yeah.
convinced me.
That
to watch
only
that.
goes so far though, because you still like the algorithm is still like the barrier there. Is like if it doesn't think if people won't click on it,
Right.
it just even if it's the greatest thing ever.
And it won't get recommended to
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people because the click-through rate.
because
is
you've
low.
seen those videos on YouTube where it's just trying to like shove them down your throat for like a
Yeah.
week, and then, you
get
finally
comments,
click
you're
on
like, "Oh, fine,
it,
I'll watch the
and then
video."
you're like, okay, that was a good video.
Yeah.
I've found what I'm pretty sure is how a lot of the TikTok re-uploading other people's content scams work.
Mm.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you've got the same problem I
Oh,
have.
yeah.
A lot of people.
I can't stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and TikTok is extremely unresponsive to that.
Yep.
But I was trying to work out what the scam was, 'cause it's not like TikTok gives them money.
It's
like
like-
not
it's like a
much.
tiny,
It's a
tiny
tiny,
bit,
tiny
yeah.
amount. That can't be the scam. Like, are they trying to build up an account and then sell it to someone else?
Mhm.
That's what I thought it was. And then I spotted that a load of the re-uploads have some music tagged in the name.
Oh, they're selling views on music.
It's like 1% volume, but they've uploaded someone else's
Huh.
video
Okay.
and then added a track at like 1% volume that's in TikTok's content ID. So I think that they are they registering an entire record company? Are they registering music that is low effort? Are they registering someone else's music? I don't
Right.
know.
Is
Yeah.
it good music? Like if you looked at any of the tracks?
No, but
No.
I don't think that matters, because what's going to happen is even if that channel gets taken down for copyright,
It's still like in the system.
the music industry, the music company, if it's a real one, is still going to get its due,
Ooh.
even for the
Right.
uploads where they shouldn't have got paid.
What
And I
if
think
it's-
that's a scam.
What if it's like trying to pump music to the top too, where it's like most used songs?
That
Yeah.
would also work.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if that's based on views or number of videos made with it, like where that sort of.
Because I've
trending
seen that
comes
happen on
from.
YouTube. Like a lot of folks who upload entire TV shows,
Yeah.
turns out what they do is they add a 30-second thank you for watching slate on the end with some music that they've got the rights to. And now...
Oh, they.
Right?
Yeah. So now
So-
they try to get that ad revenue like
Yeah.
anytime. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if half of that ad revenue is going to the company that owns a TV show, because half of it is going to
Right,
their music track
right.
they've stuck on the end.
Uh-huh.
I love that like there's this whole like the surface of YouTube is like creativity entertaining people, and the iceberg below of like all the business strategies that have
Uh-huh.
nothing to do with being entertaining or
Yeah.
creative.
I mean, that's true in every industry,
know.
isn't it? That's true
I know.
everywhere.
They're trying to like game the system, just for a little bit, like a couple pennies,
But if you
But it adds
scale
up.
it,
But
Yeah.
that goes right back to search engines.
Yeah.
That goes right back to Google in, again, 2003, 2004, where they were constantly fighting against PageRank spam and
Yeah.
constantly fighting against, okay, someone's just copying a load of junk content
Oh,
and throwing
yeah.
it out there and adding
Oh,
AdSense
well,
stuff
now
on
it's
it.
the same thing, but with ChatGPT articles.
Right.
I actually, when I Google search stuff, the first thing I do will be Reddit. I'll put Reddit somewhere in there where it's like
Except
it's so
now,
frustrating.
the search engine spammers are putting that.
in there. Yeah.
They're
Yeah, yeah,
making
yeah.
fake Reddit equivalents.
I will ignore like the first thing I'll do if
Top
I'm not
5
doing
tool
Reddit,
advice found on Reddit.
If
Yeah.
I can't find a Reddit thing and I'm just Google searching, I'll look at the date of when it was posted,
Mhm.
and anything before, like anything after sort of like 2021, 2022,
Oh, yeah.
I will take less seriously than stuff published like
Yeah,
an article
definitely.
from 2018 or this like a
Or like,
forum
an
post
article from a
2018.
week ago.
Yeah.
It's like suspicious.
Yes,
Yeah, it actually
exactly.
is.
Right.
I and it kind of sucks. Like there's a lot of
Mhm.
information that is sort of useless or misleading, or I mean, I honestly just not helpful at all. Like
I assume that Gen Z are just like searching on TikTok and finding people shouting stuff at them instead.
yeah,
I'm
I don't know.
I'm
what's
too old
left
for that.
of
We're
them.
all too
I
old for
know.
that.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out like the new slang terms the other day.
That is the most fatherly thing I have ever heard you say.
I found a USA Today article, and it said it was like these.
Oh,
these
no.
terms might have your parents saying "yeet" or something. It's like how they opened it. It was
Oh.
bad. I mean, it
Oh.
was good. It was bad.
It's like, when we were on AOL Instant like AIM,
yeah.
and it was like, here's some cool, words that you can use,
Slang.
some slangs, and it's P911. That means my parents looking over my shoulder right now. Nobody ever uses that.
No.
It was weird back then because America ran on AIM,
Yeah.
Europe ran on MSN Messenger.
Oh,
For
yeah.
a long time. Like I used to have like 4 connections to various messenger services for like different parts of the world, all
Uh-huh.
running on different things.
Yeah. And then there's the nerds using IRC, and you're like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought
What
you were
was-
going to say ICQ actually, but
Or I think that's what I was meant to say. It's like the flower. It looks like the
yeah,
flower.
that was
Yeah,
ICQ.
ICQ. What was your screen name?
I'm not saying that. Jesus.
Do you still use it? You don't use it anymore, do you?
I don't know. I don't want anyone googling it to check though.
I think you'll tell us after the podcast.
Do I know my old ICQ
Yeah.
number? Absolutely. Oh no, it was a number, wasn't it?
Oh,
It was
that's
just a
not
random
interesting.
number for ICQ.
Yeah. But what about for MSN? Well, that was an
that
email
was-
address, right? But you
email?
could set different nicknames, I think.
and away messages. Did AI have the
Yeah.
away messages? when
Uh,
you were-
they
think so,
did.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
just enormous amounts of like song lyrics or whatever that happened to come to mind.
Yeah,
Must
when
have
you're,
been in,
you know,
like,
because you're like a
middle
teenager. So
school.
There is one thing I miss from ICQ and all those old messages, which is you had status, you had online, you had do not disturb,
Yeah.
you had free to chat. You had a status that wasn't just
Mm.
online, but
Oh,
explicitly.
it was like asking for.
yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to talk now.
Yeah.
Someone come say hi, which feels like a thing that's missing from most.
Yeah,
Subs
everyone
right
sets
now.
it to do not disturb.
on Discord, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's actually hilarious. That's
Actually, I
such
guess
a-
the equivalent would be hanging out in a voice channel in Discord.
yes.
But one
Uh-huh.
person in a voice channel in Discord looks
Little-
kind of
yeah,
lonely.
yeah.
And like,
You're
You're
I
like,
wanna
you
talk
don't really want to
that
join because
No.
you're like, I don't know what I'm going to walk into.
yeah.
I feel like that was my entire existence in like high school with girls. Like any girl that was interested in me had something wrong with her.
He's just got a little free to chat thing hovering above his head.
Uh-huh.
No one's.
You're like, why are you talking to me? Like what the heck?
Single and ready to mingle.
Yeah. Nope, sorry.
My
Oh,
screen name used to
God.
be it was Kevin DK99. So that was the year that I made it.
Kevin DK. I can't.
Donkey
think
Kong? Or.
My middle name and last name.
All right.
Yeah. But I got that a lot.
I cannot remember for the life of me what any of my usernames back then were.
I think I've used mine for everything since then.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I know it's not. You could try, but you won't find anything interesting.
Oh, what you've done there is you've issued a challenge.
I know.
No, your username probably had like 3 X's and some underscores at the start.
Yes,
Then just
yeah.
a load of emo cred.
Right. No, it was I think something like that. There's a 69 in there somewhere too.
One time I was on vacation. We went up to like South Carolina. You know, I must have been like 10 years old or something like that. And they had like AIM on their computer. You know, it's like, you know, it's still dial up. And I'm like, oh, I can
Mhm.
still talk to my friends when I'm up here. Like, so I logged on to the computer, and then somebody else's like messenger account was open.
Oh
But
my god.
I just started messaging people, and I'm like,
Oh, no. Oh, I think Kevin might be the worst child to have done that.
and it was weird because I'm like, I just made a bunch of friends actually, because I'm like, hey, this person left their account open, and I'm at this house. What's up? And people were just like, they would talk to you, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think you could do that.
Like everyone's a bit like communication saturated nowadays. I feel
Yeah,
like.
imagine if you did that on Discord, you wouldn't even believe them. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
you don't leave your Discord open.
No, you made that mistake. I like, you know, back in the day, like Facebook, you know, leave it open, somebody would come in there, type something
Uh-huh.
bad. My sister would do it all the time, and she would do, you know, of course you're like in high school, and so you're typing really horrible things. And I just went through recently and like went through my entire history and started deleting that stuff, because I feel like, you know, people would see something like that now and think that you like actually.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, no. Things were much, I say worse back then. Much like, you know, I don't know.
Are you thinking about how you're going to let your kid access the internet?
Oh, I think about that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like it.
No, of course
No.
not. I don't think anyone
I
does.
think that the internet is a very like exploitative place from like every angle, and like nothing good comes from letting a kid like sort of unfiltered browse the internet. Like I wish like there's something nice about, you know, like TV or even like a streaming service where the content is a bit more curated. Like, not saying it's better, but it's generally more controlled because there's like more of a reputation on the line for the, you know, company producing it. But on the internet, it's just like you burn your reputation. They'll just spin something else up, and you know, you get like content farms across the world just pumping stuff out, and like they do not care
Yeah.
at all. Some of them might, but there's something terrifying about, you know, everybody and their mother trying to figure out how to exploit people's brains, and there's a lot of rules about children when it
Yeah.
comes to advertising that basically do not happen online.
Right.
Like nobody listens to
Both
them.
advertising and content.
Yeah.
One of the content requirements for kids TV in the UK
Mhm.
is avoiding what they call imitable behavior.
Oh yeah, see, I
So,
think that's a big one actually.
Episodes of The Simpsons in the UK, when they go out in daytime, frequently have cuts for violence if it's something that could reasonably be replicated by a child.
Right.
And I saw, this is months ago now. I can't remember if I've told, if I'm repeating something from the last time I was on the show, because I definitely told someone about this.
My
around
memory's
then.
not that good.
I stumbled on a video that was, I can't remember what I was researching at this point to get me to that. It might have just turned up on trending or something like that. But I'm like, oh, that's wrong. And it was one of these like highly enthusiastic, we make stuff for kids of chaos, and it wasn't like Spider-Man Elsa stuff. It was actually a group, but it was very much the high energy, zero attention span.
Yeah.
Point a kid with an iPad at this. They'll be fine for that.
Right.
And it was
It's
something,
like some nonsense story going on in the back. Like not even a story, but it's like
it was challenge videos.
A lot of
stuff
stimuli.
like that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it was something like last to leave concrete wins.
Oh.
And the shtick they're doing is they've got this kind of grey goo stuff, and they're pretending that they're setting in concrete. I'm like that.
Oh.
No,
That's bad.
that's really, really
Yeah.
bad.
yeah.
Like growing up, we had terrifying public service announcements about not playing on construction sites.
Yeah.
Like if you ever want to know why a lot of folks of my generation before were screwed up, have a look at some of those British public service announcements. Because
Oh yeah.
it's like, no, they just showed, it's not gruesome, but they just showed kids dying on construction sites.
Oh my god!
Messages
like,
of like
fake, like
Like
Yeah.
they're walking across a beam and they just fall off.
you'd see the reaction. Like
Yeah.
or playing on train tracks or something like that. There's quite a few famous ones where you just no, that kid's dead now.
right.
And like you are 8 or 9 years old,
You're like,
and you're pretty sure what reality is, but
Yeah.
like on one of them is like, don't play on construction sites, don't go near stuff. This is lethal.
right.
I mean
Like-
that makes sense,
And
right?
concrete is like extremely alkaline, it will burn you.
Yeah.
This is a stupid
Oh,
thing
yeah,
to do.
yeah.
It's hot, yeah. And then you have a show on YouTube that's just making a joke of
Right.
Like
yeah.
hot tub full of
yeah.
concrete. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that should be age restricted,
Yeah.
or at least like not
It
kid.
wouldn't be. Yeah, you would get. I think legally, if like Disney or some production
Yeah.
company was doing, like, it would not go out the door.
Oh, they
Because-
wouldn't,
Yeah.
because they get sued by
Yeah.
some parent somewhere in America.
Just saying you
Yeah.
can't. You
Even
can't make
even
kids
like
think
putting
this
your
is
hand
cool.
in plaster. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a
It's
couple
really
news
hot,
stories
yeah.
like every year where
Yeah.
some kid like gets their hand super burned because
Yeah.
they try
Right.
to cast it in plaster or
Right.
something.
Yeah, I think like one of the beefs I've had with YouTube in the past is that if you do something that's dangerous, and like the people who are like striking the video see that it's dangerous, they're striking it for being dangerous. But
Yeah.
what you've done is you've shown them it's dangerous, which is why they're striking for being dangerous.
Yeah.
The worst thing to do is like the concrete thing where you do something and make it look safe.
Right.
But
But
then
then
the person
they don't-
doesn't think it's dangerous because you made it look
Uh-huh.
safe, and now you're like, that's the dangerous thing.
So what's your plan to insulate your kid from like the world out there at large? Is there,
I have no idea.
are you talking to other parents about it?
No, I feel like nobody really understands it. Like there's I think that we have a pretty like interesting inside look to it because we, I mean, everything is manipulation, from titles and thumbnails to like how you started it. Like, you're not necessarily maliciously manipulating people, but you're like strategically, like guiding people's emotional process like through a video of like,
Yeah.
why is this interesting? I mean, I watch it, you do some creative stuff in some of your videos that titles and thumbnails like might not be super interesting otherwise. Like the balloon one you did, like the person floating in a balloon.
Oh yeah.
You like immediately say the answer to the question.
So the setup was how much helium does
Yeah.
it take to lift a person?
Oh, okay.
In the beginning of the video, it's not, I'm here today doing
No,
something, because it's a very simple question that has a very simple answer.
It's about 1 kilogram per.
Yeah.
No, 1 gram per
Right.
liter or something.
And the
like
thing
that.
is, like, you're not going to click off the
wow.
video because you're like, well, wait, he just gave me the answer. Like, what? Wait.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's something.
And
like,
meanwhile, in the background, there's 3 people
Yeah.
flying through the air on helium balloons.
Oh,
if
really?
you're ever in France, by the way, I think there's one in Normandy and one in a cave somewhere in southeast of France.
Okay.
It is just a big aircraft hangar or a cave where they have blimps big enough to lift a person up to about, I think it's 85 or 90 kilos.
Okay. So
what's that
awesome.
in freedom units?
I don't know. Multiply it by 2.2, I think.
How many gallons
Oh,
of
I can do
helium?
that.
Um,
I think I might be close to the top of that.
It's probably about 200 pounds, I think,
Okay.
is your maximum. Don't check it. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But they have weights to kind of balance it all out,
Yeah.
and you just get strapped in, and you have paddles like a
Like
giant
like a
kayak.
manatee.
Like yeah,
Oh, cool. So
Uh,
you can kind of like scoop your way through the air or something?
right.
That's
yeah.
neat.
And then they will remove just one weight, and you'll float up towards the top of the hangar, and then find a new equilibrium because the air is warmer up there.
And then right
Wow.
next door, it's more expensive. There's archery.
Right. Well, no, they've had that. They've had one blimp puncture,
Oh.
and what happens is you slowly descend to the ground. because
Yeah.
it's not held under pressure in there,
right.
so the gas just starts to
You just
exchange, and
slowly-
you slowly come down to the
That's
ground.
great.
Yeah.
How did it puncture?
I don't know. I just remember them saying that during an interview
Okay.
that once it's scraped along a wall or something like that.
Oof.
and
Then it just slowly.
That's
yeah,
got to be
but
a
they've
lot
been
of
doing
helium.
it for years.
Okay.
And also you're on a tether.
Yeah.
Like it's not taut.
Right.
But if you start going towards a wall, someone will just
They'll play.
they just stop and you'll stop. It's not like you're
Yeah.
putting much inertia into it.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of like cursed like Willy Wonka energy. You're like inflated, floating around, and someone's like guiding you around the string, like you became a balloon.
But yeah, like I opened that video with the answer.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like an interesting strategy to make.
And
the video
and
work.
it's like it's sort of a twist on the traditional process of doing a video where you're like, oh, title, thumbnail, and then you present the idea and you try to hold on to it through the entire video, and then at the end it's like, here's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
And
And everyone just skips to the end.
everyone
anyway.
skips to the end anyways. And
Or you set up a load of questions like you do, Kevin.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You frequently set up a few
Yes.
stages
like
to
the
get there.
chapter markers of like these
Yeah.
are what you're gonna get throughout the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those like the top 10 or like 10 ways to do something work really
Oh
well.
yeah. Like I like those videos. Like I think that's a good strategy lately. Is kind of do like multiple small builds in a video.
Yeah.
Like Peter just did
Yep,
that,
yep.
and he's like, wow, my video's doing like really
Peter
good.
Streeple.
Right.
Airplane Rain Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he made like 3 different types of.
He's only good at one thing, and it's building airplanes.
Not boats.
There's a guy in Ireland who's good at that.
But I mean, I think that the fact that, we think about this stuff a lot, it shows you kind of what other people are thinking about when they make content on the internet. Of like, how do you get people engaged? How do you capture their attention? And it's great from a like, respectful perspective. But when you have people who don't respect,
Yeah.
how they're manipulating
It's
people.
like it's not even the shot content that you have to worry about, really.
Yeah.
I think it's like the psychological kind of like
Yeah.
like training, like subconsciously training kids.
It's like showing kids things they've never like how do you stimulate kids when there's like indefinite amounts of that
yeah,
mental
like
stuff
we
already on the
didn't really
internet?
have that on the
Right.
internet back then because it like wasn't incentivized to
Right.
like try. It wasn't really monetized.
There was always some kind of gatekeeper between
Yeah.
what people were making and
Right.
what was going into it.
Right.
And sometimes those gatekeepers failed.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Right.
But it was never that egregious and
Yeah.
constant, it
And
feels
it
like.
feels like hyper scaled and manufactured right
Yeah.
now, where you have companies investing, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into, it's like the 5-minute craft stuff. And like,
Uh-huh.
where it's like garbage. Like
Anne Reardon is doing a really good job of debunking a lot of those.
yeah. Mhm.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
called How to Cook That, and occasionally she'll just do a series like, no, that doesn't work.
yeah.
That doesn't work. That's actively dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't do it. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel crazy, like, because we've done some of that in the past, and it's like, isn't this obviously like fake or BS? And then
Not
there's
if
the-
you're 12 years old.
Right.
And you
Yeah,
just have
But
an
is a
iPad
12-year-old going to
Yeah.
be watching the debunk video?
Right.
Because what does a 12-year-old click on?
And
The
do they
crap
care?
that's being engineered
You
to
know?
like get into the
Well,
brain.
Yeah. Are they going to do it or are they?
yeah. I mean, do they even care if it's fake? Like
Right.
I
I watched.
guess we always had this again with like ancient aliens and things like that. Like the gatekeepers
Yeah.
definitely fail sometimes,
Yeah.
but
I don't know what the right answer is, and I don't know if it's like this is sort of the boomer mentality of like the kids, like because maybe the kids figured it out, but like maybe it's just enough in like being injected that's like having a negative effect where they what's real and what's this or what's or I don't know.
you're going to have to make that
I know.
call.
I know.
When
know.
do you give your kid access to the internet?
I will drag that out as long as possible. Like, some people will even like let their kids watch YouTube, and they won't necessarily use YouTube Kids, but they'll like be watching it in the background. And YouTube has autoplay,
Yep.
and I don't think that necessarily always
Yeah.
works because like I don't know how it connects dots between things
Yeah.
because like I
And
think
it used to be like keep the computer in the family room, and now the computer is
Yes.
at
Yeah.
some point going to
Yeah.
be in your kid's pocket.
that's my actual nightmare. Like
Yeah.
I think it's not the internet itself; it's the internet in a child's pocket. Like I think a phone is fine, some limited stuff is fine until like a certain age. Like I think like honestly until probably after high school when you're more on your own, then you can saturate as much as you want. there's something kind of cursed about like being in class and kids being, you know, watching YouTube in class. And
No, I mean, I think we did that, and I think
we had it before it was as saturated as it was. Like,
that's true.
I'm not saying it's bad. I feel like the scale that it's at is bad. Like a lot of, I read an article the other day that was, you know, ask kids how frequently they go on certain platforms, and it was like 25% said they're like always on YouTube. Like actually
really?
always on YouTube
It's
or
good.
TikTok.
Good job, security.
Well, I mean, that was the two feelings I had.
We've got no job security. Come on.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like moderation is important, and I think having it in your pocket kind of dissolves the moderation.
There is a certain, like, between the set and the seats and what we're talking, there is a certain like dads at a picnic vibe.
Yeah.
Like I
King of the hill.
I just expect you at some point just shout like, don't go in the water there. That's where the bats live. Don't go to that side of the lake.
The small forks are better for the outlet. All we're missing is cheap beer.
I know.
I mean, I've got a solo cup.
Yeah,
you know, I've got the right look going on
I
here.
have a Starbucks.
Oh, you've got a Starbucks green
Oh, no.
foam smooth. What
Green
is that?
iced matcha latte with oat milk. This is what
I've got a sparkling water.
Okay. Two of us. There we go. Two of us are the dads at the beach. The other is.
Are we boomers? 9:45. We're doing great. I don't know. She's just
Keeping track of the time for us.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go way over.
I think when you see somebody, okay, it's a lot of energy to. It's okay. A child is kind of like a very high maintenance pet.
I've heard them described as tiny drunk person, but
yeah, I think that we're gonna get to the tiny drunk person stage probably in like some point in the next few months or 6 months.
Right now, it's just like I would say the drunkenness level is at a maximum, and it's only gonna start to get more. They're gonna get more sober, and energetic.
And it's horrifying because you know that they're learning and observing, and you know that, you know, like if the child cries and you go to comfort them, they learn that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when they cry, do you comfort them? Do you kind of drag it out a little bit? Do you rush and over there? Because it becomes like an attention thing. And so that, like, to me is like a lot of the you know, having to make decisions about, you know, like, how do you satisfy? Because it's about like stimulation. Like they want to be constantly stimulated. Like if a toy gets old, it's not fun anymore. It's like a new thing. And what's the easiest way to give them a toy that like never saturates?
Chuck an iPad in front of them.
And it's so bad. It's so bad. And the reason it works, I think, is because it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're on a road trip and that's the only time you do it, fine. Because you're in the car, there's a very distinct boundary of when it's allowed to happen, when it's not allowed to happen. But there's still something about like how easy it is to make this problem go away. Because like I just need to do the dishes. I just need to mow the lawn. I just need to change. Like yesterday, I was changing the garbage disposal on this thing, and it's just like, I'm like, just give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, please. Like my hands are covered in like rotten garbage, you know, sink garbage. Like just give me 5 minutes, please. I had it on my face. Like just stop crying for a couple minutes so I can do it.
You know what? While you were doing that, my dog was inside. I was trying to work on some video stuff, and my dog was like, you know, kind of snooting under my arm, like pet me. And I'm like, give me 5 minutes. So I opened the door. And he runs down and he starts like eating the dirty garbage disposal juice on the
Oh no. Oh no.
So it's very like, I understand why people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will do everything in my power to drag that out as long as possible.
Yeah.
Because it feels really irresponsible to give like unfettered access. And I think like, you know, like the way that we put things on the internet, I'm worried about the other side of it, of how people receive it. You know, like you know, like how much thought goes into getting people to just be fully consumed by something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Speaking of recommendations, somebody said that your videos are like they're like ants. It's like you see one Tom Scott video and you walk away and you come back to YouTube and it's an infestation of red shirts everywhere.
Yeah, I've got strong branding, but I think it's also because of the length.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing the Inside Baseball YouTube talk again, but
No,
I think if you have 3 or 4 minute videos, then people are more likely to follow a chain of, that one, that
Yeah.
one. Whereas That's a good job you got some plastic sheeting down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, slight drinking problem. Sorry about that.
You've had too much.
I think also if you have like a 4.5 hour video essay, there's only so many of those you can make.
Mhm.
Did either of you see the
I
the
can't
plagiarism
watch those.
one that just
I-
went up as we recorded
No,
this?
I can't think of maybe a handful of times I've watched a video that long on YouTube.
Mhm.
I don't think I have.
It
There-
takes a lot.
There is a 3, I think it's just under 4 hour video
Mhm.
essay that is essentially a series of plagiarism call-outs that has managed to do 2.5 million views. Like it's H. Bomber, guys.
Ooh.
He's,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's
Okay.
very, very good at what he does.
Yeah,
But I like that's 2 feature films.
that's a commitment.
and it's
Yeah.
it's basically a monologue, and people are watching all the way through.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a Nile Red video.
But it clearly works. Like people
Uh-huh.
will watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
I have a theory that the longer the video is, the more of it people watch. Like the more through it, like they put it on. It's almost like a stream. You're
Mhm.
not putting it on to necessarily watch it in its entirety. I mean, you
Mhm.
might end up doing that, but if you're clicking on a long video, it's because you're going to play the whole thing.
yes,
That
which is
makes
why
sense.
they tend to
Yeah,
take
yeah,
off slower.
because you have like the
Right.
time to watch it, and a
Yeah.
lot of times I don't feel like I can commit to something that's like
Yeah.
30 minutes long or
Yeah.
something.
And it could just be background noise too. Like for a while I was trying to figure out, like 2018, I'm like, what is Twitch? Like what is Twitch?
It's
and-
talk radio.
Yes. And that I realized I was like, oh my God, like I used to
Yep.
drive to work in the morning and there was like, it was like 93.1, I think, or what. And it was just like
Yeah.
some stupid talk show. And they were talking about like what they did in the weekend. It was like just dumb.
Yep. I
Exactly
can't
like
stand those
this.
shows.
Yeah. But you're in a car.
But you're in a car.
What do you do?
Yep.
I wouldn't watch it on the weekends when I wasn't driving to work.
There's
Or
still
listen,
some
yeah.
Twitch streamers. They're like, I would say they're like an older demographic, and they still do like basically the talk radio kind of presentation.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're really popular too.
Yeah.
You know, they're like some of the top streamers, and you've probably never heard of them because it's like totally different demographic.
Yep.
And it's just on in the background like a radio.
Yeah.
And they're going to have soundboards. They can do call-in guests or
Yep.
anything like that.
Yep.
An invention I would like, and I know why it hasn't happened because it's really, really difficult. I would like the Twitch/online streaming equivalent of the dump button that a load of radio and TV stations have.
Oh yeah. So you mean like you press it and it like deletes the last 5 seconds or something?
Right.
Yeah.
Like you've just accidentally put your credit card information on screen.
Right.
Someone's called in and dropped a load of swearing
Yeah.
slurs that you need to figure out.
yeah.
You've got an emergency button that dumps the last 5 seconds
Yeah.
of your stream and replace it with just a generic graphic, or maybe the way they do it for
Please stand
It's
by or
just Tom
something.
Fortnite dance.
one of the things they do for sorry, do you want to do your apologies to audio listeners, but the Fortnite, that is the most dad version of a Fortnite dance
Sitting in a
possible.
chair. How much of a good job? If I was standing, it'd be better, but we'll do that later off camera.
If you're doing radio,
Hmm.
then it gets built up over time. They add like micro pause and they slow down the audio to like 99.9%.
Oh.
And it
Hmm.
builds up anything up to like a half-second buffer. And then you can just go, half-minute buffer.
Yeah.
And you can just push a button
and then
and dump the last 5 seconds. And
the system
You
just
wouldn't
eats
even
it up.
notice.
The
It would just like
system's-
glitch and
yeah, there's a glitch in thing. Or if
wow.
you're clever, you push the button and go, sorry, we just cut them off there. And it's almost seamless.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's possible to do that for television as
Mhm.
well. Mostly they just use a mute or a dip or
Right.
something like that. And what you can have is someone listening to the outgoing feed
Right.
and then also listening to what's coming in from the studio. And if they
Mhm.
hear a swear word on the studio bit, they'll wait for it to go out the other ear and mute at the right time. Like there's a lot of approaches.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that on one PC that's already dealing with streaming encoding and everything like that, like you need to host 5 seconds of raw video in
Yeah.
completely uncompressed form
Mhm.
on a loop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's really specialized hardware on a really powerful PC.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely could be done. I just don't know. I feel like
No, so I was thinking that's like, that sounds easy. All you do is, oh no, hang on.
I think there are streams with delays. They do
Yeah.
that, but it's like I think
But
it's
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 after
all it's
encoding.
all or nothing, right? Yeah.
Right.
So if you cut the stream, you have to like cut the stream.
Right.
and then you just fill it with some,
I think
technical difficulties.
What you basically need
Yeah.
to do is take the compressed stream to another PC,
Mhm.
use that
Yeah.
as an input on a 5-second delay. But even
Yeah.
then, it's
But someone could build a box that would do this.
oh
like,
yeah, no, they
easily,
have.
yeah.
You can put in a rack unit at a TV station. It's about $10,000.
Yeah, well, that's because they're selling it to TV stations.
Yeah.
I think once they've made the chip or the the FPGA to do it. It's like,
But the
you know,
number of times that someone's got banned for something or got into trouble because like credit card on the
Yeah.
screen or something like that,
Uh-huh.
having that just big red button.
you're thinking about it wrong though, because those moments are the best advertising for your stream ever. Because that's what ends up like the front page of
Uh-huh.
Reddit is someone searching for.
Yeah, but you
they're
don't want
like,
to be advertised on the front
pop-
page of Reddit.
They're
What do you like?
I
The
know.
worst audience.
They're typing
Yeah.
porridge recipes, and the first thing that pops up is like their porn searches. You know?
Right.
Like pour, and everyone's like, "Yo, look at what they watch!"
You just keep seeing the stream cut back in after your hands like lifting off the button, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What's happening?"
The one that freaks me out, and I don't know how this even happens at all, is the going live without intending to go live, because on YouTube you have to like press upload, but on Twitch you just you could.
I've
just
done
straight
that
go
before on
into
OBS.
Yeah, which is
Really?
Uh-huh. It's a good
Wait,
thing.
you just send the stream and it.
Oh, you did it on the
activates.
podcast.
Yeah, I've also done it before
Oh, you
that.
did.
Wow.
We're doing remote podcasts,
Yeah.
and Kevin turned his
It's
webcam
like there's
on.
a start recording and start streaming, and there's no.
And that's it.
I
And
think
it
there
just
is.
goes
There's a
right to
warning,
Twitch.
but I got rid of the warning.
Yeah.
'Cause it was annoying.
What I would do, because I streamed for a few weeks during COVID, I would delete my stream key every single time
Oh,
and
yeah.
re-enter it, because I was like, there's no way. Because it's like been like instances where people or
Yeah.
take their clothes off or start
Yeah, start
masturbating in the room,
Kick their
what?
dog or like throw their cat across the room. Like that
Yeah.
was yeah.
I
Wait,
would.
what?
I will.
Yeah, that was some streamer girl. She got in trouble because there was like her cat was annoying her or something at her
She
computer, and
yeeted
she
it?
just knocked
Oh,
it off.
they're-
Have you-
how
I don't
bad
think it was that
They're
bad.
robust.
It was like bad enough.
Did you
but-
ever hear about the cat bin lady in the UK?
No.
A moment of madness someone had. That's how I think she described it. Something like that, where there is, she's just walking along down the street. There is a cat on the wall meowing for attention, and there is one of those wheeled garbage bins with the flip lids,
Uh-huh.
and she just
I think I
opens
do
the
know this.
takes the cat,
Shove
puts it in the bin, and obviously, like this got big because it got caught on
it's just
CCTV
like,
Yeah.
because there's a
Yeah.
camera pointing
Yeah.
out.
So she like picked it up and put it in the bin.
It was very deliberate,
Okay.
and obviously becomes the villain of the entire
It's
country.
just like, don't fuck with cats. Let's say.
Yeah, like
Oh,
it's hit every single note on
Yeah.
what you can do to get everyone in the country righteously
Yeah.
angry at you. And I think she just described it as moment of madness.
It's the
Intrusive
I could
thought.
swerve off the road
It-
right now.
It's the
Uh-huh.
intrusive thought in the head going, oh yeah, no one's good. And like that moment, but with streaming.
Yeah.
If you are live
Yeah.
online, you have to be conscious.
Yeah.
Like I'm very conscious of what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, but that doesn't even matter because it's all
Right.
edited and you'll get a review of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You could say the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And then we would cut it out. We could do that joke. where
Yeah,
it
just
cuts
cut.
out and then- Tom, I can't believe you said that.
Wow.
That was horrible.
The thing is, I was
Intrusive
actually going to say
thought.
something there, and then I thought, you know what? You'll leave it in just for comedy value.
Who wouldn't do that to you?
I feel like if the
Who would you do it to?
Honestly, probably ourselves.
yeah.
Depends on how
accident.
bad it is. It wouldn't do anything that would get anybody in trouble.
Yeah.
You just sort of gotta like.
I don't really hold any strong or bad views on anything.
Yeah,
the
my
record.
opinions about everything
Very bland.
closely resemble your opinions about
Uh-huh.
things.
This is nuts. This is the thing about editing. Like, Lateral gets edited down for about an hour of recording to a 40-minute show.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties on the podcast type stuff I used to
Yeah.
do with friends. We'd record for an hour and come out with like a 20-25-minute show.
would
And
you
just
guys
keep
say?
we just keep the good stuff. Because if
Okay.
you're trying to be funny around a table and you,
Oh yeah.
like you are unscripted and you are going off notes and things like
Mhm.
that, sometimes you'll go down a line and
It's true.
No, that's
Yeah.
you
gone
know, we had
nowhere.
to get rid of a
That's just
whole
not funny.
podcast with Mr. Beast because it turned into
Oh, we didn't record the audio.
oh well
Okay, that's
well that
another
too.
reason.
But also
That's
it turned
another
into like a YouTube brainstorming session.
Yeah.
Right, which is what happens
think
when
with-
you get three people
Yeah.
in a room.
Yeah, I think though people would probably listen to that.
Well, they would listen to me and Jimmy, not you,
No,
because
right, 'cause I didn't have any audio. I think that the idea of streams or podcasts being kind of background noise for people makes it a lot easier to just kind of like whatever you just. I mean,
Yeah.
I all I do is I just go back to like sitting in the car listening to that weird radio talk show. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, that's sort of that's where we're at. I think
You need a soundboard. You need a
I was
soundboard.
just
with
thinking
like-
that. I'm like right now, we
Yeah.
need some horns. We need the emergency siren
Yeah.
going off in the background.
just
like
to
that.
annoy everyone in their cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll look behind you. But
This is not a test. This is not a test.
you leave a comment if you're driving your car right now.
Yeah.
And then
Let
leave
us-
a,
But wait until you've
Let
not
us-
driving the
let
car.
us
Leave
know
a
how
comment.
fast you're going.
Watching the video version of this while driving your car.
Let us know how fast you're going too.
Leave a
Although
comment how fast you're driving.
you could get some idents and like stings and done for the podcast. Like, you know, there's still one, I think just one jingle company in the US.
Really?
Like, if you want a proper
Oh.
traditionally sung jingle for the show, you can actually go, and there was still like, I think they've got a studio in a couple of places. They will get singers in on background music, and if you want a safety third
They'll make
properly
a
sung,
jingle.
Wow, well, you should do
no,
that.
you'll have to pay for licensing. Like,
Yeah.
there's a separate charge for getting the jingle for like
Oh,
fun and things, and a separate one for licensing it for use because like it's old school music
Right.
stuff. But if you want a proper like safety third jingle and a proper voiceover guy, so
Yeah.
like 102.7,
Uh-huh.
Right.
you can still get
How much
that
would
done.
that cost to do the jingle?
I have never looked into it. I did think about doing a video once, which was
safety,
making
safety third, coming to you live from the dumpster.
Yeah, right with the full.
And they'll like
blasting.
they'll like write the jingle and everything. We kind of give them a.
You give them the words, they'll
Yeah.
sing them.
Well, I want somebody to come up with the words too, just
You-
to see what they would think about it.
I think we gotta give
Yeah.
them some
You know.
guidelines.
I guess, yeah.
Or we give them like ChatGPT. We could probably just have this is a perfect.
Hey, can you
ChatGPT.
ask ChatGPT to write us a jingle?
a podcast about
Three
called
guys,
Safety
three
Third.
guys in a dumpster.
I mean, that's it. You've got it there. Like it's, but they,
Three guys in a dumpster.
But they will get like proper professional session singers together, learn the harmonies, everything together. Because what they do is they have existing stock music
yeah,
that is designed to have that line added over the top.
That's-
So like,
ChatGPT is going off right now.
oh, they've written a whole.
They've got a
verses.
bridge. They've got verses. They've got
that's a
cool-
poem. Not
so if
quite
you're
right.
feeling down or your day's in a slump, tune into
Oh god, no!
Dumpster
Don't just.
Dudes.
This is reading out ChatGPT stuff. It's like hearing someone talk about their dreams. No one cares. It's awful.
That's what. Yeah, I wrote this earlier. It's not ChatGPT. This is the jingle I wrote.
Here we go. No, it's full. It's writing full poetry.
Yeah.
But it has come up with the name Dumpster Diaries, which I think is also
Hmm.
possibly a
That's
good
pretty
name
good.
for
I
the
like
podcast.
So you have to pay every time you use it with the licensing, or how?
So
would that
this is
work?
old school music licensing.
Okay.
So I've had to deal with this recently. It all fell through
I
to
just wouldn't
music
even-
companies.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my
I've
God.
tried doing it
Yeah.
once.
Nope.
Never again.
Nope.
Yeah. And there are services that do it for like a lot of stock pop tracks now as well. But for this,
Yeah.
you would
Dealing
have,
with like a manager, somebody's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
you would have to pay for, first of all, the singing session.
Yeah.
That's flat fee.
Oh, I see.
And then you also have to pay to license the music from the background and the music that they've created for however long you want to use it for, because it's radio.
Yeah.
So after 5 years, maybe you only want a 5-year license. You're going to
can't
have to
use
re-up
anywhere.
it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure they have exceptions for things like this.
Right.
I was going to do a video.
you would
once.
think so. They don't.
They
Not-
don't. They
No.
really don't.
No.
I know somebody who was trying to license a song for a YouTube documentary, and it
Yep.
was like California Dreamin', and they wanted like $40,000
Yeah.
each year.
Yeah. I got quoted 5,000 for 2 years for one, and there was no option for perpetual.
Yeah.
And there
No.
are some licensing companies working on that now,
Yeah.
but they don't have a
Because
big
it just
collection.
wouldn't make money in the future. Like
Right.
you would, let's say, like you would have to pay them up front and then
Mhm.
let them claim it, and you would spend more money than if you just let them claim it from the beginning.
I remember Chris Hadfield doing Space Oddity on the space
Mm.
station, and that nearly got taken down after a year because they'd only licensed it for a year.
Wow.
And because
That's like the best kind of, like advertising for that
because
song.
well, it is, but also like they don't really need the advertising for the song. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. It's still up. There's been
Yeah.
negotiations.
It's
but-
just like no tolerance. Like you have to pay us, like no matter the
10.
situation, no matter the context. It's like you must pay us forever, even if the stuff you're doing like stops getting views.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you put it on an old YouTube video, it gets a bunch of views the first year. Then obviously, like every YouTube
Yeah.
video, it slows down, and then you have to delete it, or you just can't. Like it's
But
sort
that's how that entire industry works.
Yeah.
Like they
It's
remastered
old school.
they
you know?
remastered Baywatch recently in HD,
Mm.
and all the music has been swapped out because
Oh
it
my
was
God.
licensed.
They're probably
for
just
that.
using like stock music or something.
They actually got some
Yeah.
special made, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Holy
But they
shit.
swapped out all the music as part of the remaster because it
Yeah.
was not affordable otherwise.
Yeah.
Which meant going back to they have stems for the English version. Hello.
Hot potato.
They have stems for the English version, but for the foreign language dubs,
Yeah.
they had to go in and remove the music by matching up the waveforms.
Oh
and
my
doing,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So
To
like
redub-
subtract it from
Right. And like they had to re-edit montages to match the new music. So all that was cheaper than
Than
licensing the
licensing.
songs.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's got to be something about like the kind of like artistic integrity of like if the original thing was made and it was long
So-
enough ago.
So
like,
of course the fans are taking the HD version and putting it back
Yeah.
together. But like that's what the public domain is.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
should be a lot shorter than it
It-
is. But we've all
yes!
done this rant.
Right.
Like public
Yeah.
domain should be. I think it should be 20 years. I'd accept 50.
right.
Yeah.
As it
yeah,
is,
yeah.
it's life.
I
plus
feel like
90 or
there's
something. Life
there's
plus 70.
definitely like if the original artist should benefit from it,
Mhm.
the corporation that buys it or like two generations down the road
Uh-huh.
probably shouldn't be able
Yeah.
to be as strict with it.
Yeah.
Like the license almost like becomes looser and looser and looser. Like almost instead of it being like a a fixed term, it kind of like degrades over time.
Yeah.
to
Because
where
it's
it
like
becomes,
artist's death plus 70 years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's psychotic.
Yeah, at least that's how
Yeah.
it is here.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, it's a
Right.
confusing mess. So, as I suspect our time is running out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
can I suggest that we end this with a rousing sing along of "Hey Jude" by the Beatles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
are they gonna do? I cannot imagine that they actually land it.
I know. Hey.
No.
Do you think that'll actually? You think it'll get
Oh,
claimed?
that one. Just the na
Yeah,
na
we could-
na 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 na.
Na
na, na, na. Hey
Hey,
Jude, hey
Jude.
Jude, Jude, Jude,
Strike
Jude,
us!
Jude.
Strike us! Do it, you cowards! Strike us!